River Coleman's hand froze on the crystal vase she was polishing when she heard the voice behind her. Cold, venomous, deadly. If you so much as breathe near him again, I'll make sure you disappear. Do you understand me, girl? Her heart hammered against her ribcage as Rosalind Fairfax's perfectly manicured nail dug into her shoulder. The blonde socialite's breath was hot against her ear, reeking of champagne and cruelty. River kept her eyes down, her throat tight. She'd worked in enough wealthy homes to know the rules. Don't speak, don't react, don't exist except to serve. But this wasn't just any wealthy home. This was Massimo Leone's mansion, the most powerful crime lord on the East Coast, and Rosalind Fairfax was about to become his wife in 3 days. I asked you a question. Rosalind's nails bit deeper. Yes, ma'am, River whispered, hating how her voice trembled. What Rosalind didn't know, what nobody knew, was that River hadn't been breathing near anyone. She'd simply been doing her job, cleaning the study where Massimo had left his jacket. She'd barely glanced at him when he'd walked through earlier, but apparently that had been enough. Good, Rosalind hissed, because if Massimo so much as looks at you, I'll— The threat died in her throat. River felt it before she saw it. The sudden shift in the air, the way Rosalind's grip loosened, the sharp intake of breath. Someone else was in the room. She didn't need to turn around to know who it was. The temperature seemed to drop 10 degrees whenever Massimo Leone entered a space. You'll what, tesoro? His voice was silk over steel, quiet, controlled, absolutely lethal. River's blood turned to ice. He had heard everything. If you want to discover how this story began and what happened after this moment, subscribe to the channel and leave in the comments where you're watching from. Every view helps bring more stories like this one. 3 days earlier, River Coleman had stood outside the massive iron gates of the Leone estate, her worn sneakers barely touching the perfectly manicured driveway as the security guard checked her credentials for the 3rd time. She needed this job, desperately. The agency had called her at 6 that morning, emergency replacement for a housekeeper who'd quit without notice, triple the usual pay for a 3-week assignment leading up to and through a wedding. River hadn't asked questions. She'd thrown on her most professional outfit, black slacks that were slightly too big and a white button-down she'd ironed until her arms ached, and taken 2 buses to get here. Now, standing before what could only be described as a palace, she felt woefully out of place. Ms. Coleman, the guard's voice crackled through the intercom. You're cleared. Main entrance. Mrs. Berlusconi will meet you. The gates swung open with an ominous creak. Mrs. Berlusconi turned out to be a stern Italian woman in her 60s, with sharp eyes that missed nothing. She looked River up and down once, her expression unreadable. You're younger than I expected, she said in accented English. I'm 26, ma'am. I've been working professionally since I was 18. Can you be discreet? River nodded. She'd learned discretion the hard way, working in homes where she'd seen things that would make most people's skin crawl. Good, because Mr. Leone values his privacy above all else. You see nothing, you hear nothing. You speak to no one about what happens in this house, understood? Yes, ma'am. Mrs. Berlusconi's expression softened fractionally. The pay is generous because the work is demanding. Mr. Leone is getting married in 3 weeks. His fiancée, Miss Fairfax, will be staying here until the wedding. She has particular standards. River caught the pause, the slight tightening around Mrs. Berlusconi's mouth. A warning. I can handle it, River said quietly. The first 2 days passed in a blur of polishing, scrubbing, and staying invisible. She'd glimpsed Massimo Leone only twice, once from across the foyer as he left for a meeting, flanked by men in dark suits. He moved like a predator, all controlled grace and barely leashed power. The second time had been in his study. She'd been dusting the bookshelves when the door opened. River had frozen. Massimo Leone stood in the doorway, his dark eyes scanning the room before landing on her. For one infinite moment their gazes met. He was beautiful in the way dangerous things were beautiful. Sharp cheekbones, a jaw that could cut glass, eyes so dark they were almost black. A thin scar ran along his left temple. He wore his power like other men wore cologne. Impossible to ignore. Scusa, he'd said, his voice low and rough. I didn't realize anyone was in here. I can come back later, sir. No need. I just need my jacket. He'd moved past her, and River had caught the scent of him, expensive cologne, leather, something darker underneath. He'd paused at the door, glancing back. You're new? Yes, sir. River Coleman. I started 2 days ago. River. He'd said her name like he was testing it. Unusual name. My mother liked nature. The corner of his mouth had lifted, not quite a smile, but close. So do I. Welcome to my home, Miss Coleman. That had been her mistake, that 30-second interaction, because apparently Rosalind Fairfax had seen it. Rosalind had arrived on the third day in a whirlwind of designer luggage and demands. She was beautiful in an icy, untouchable way, platinum blonde hair, blue eyes like chips of frozen sky. She moved through the mansion like she already owned it, barking orders, complaining about everything. River had done her best to stay out of her way, but Rosalind had noticed her. Maybe because River was the only black woman on staff, maybe because she was young, maybe because Massimo Leone had spoken to her for 30 seconds. Whatever the reason, Rosalind had made River's life hell. This floor isn't clean enough. Do it again. These flowers are wilting. Replace them. Why are you standing there? Don't you have work to do? River had gritted her teeth and complied. She needed this job. Her younger brother Elijah's tuition was due in 2 weeks, and their mother's medication wasn't going to pay for itself. She could handle a spoiled socialite for 3 weeks. Until today. Until this moment, frozen in the study with Rosalind's threat still echoing and Massimo Leone's presence behind her, heavy as thunder before a storm. River finally forced herself to turn around. Massimo stood in the doorway, his expression utterly calm, but his eyes were black fire, not directed at her, directed at Rosalind. "I asked you a question, Tesoro," he repeated. "You'll what?" Rosalind's face had gone pale. "Massimo, darling, I was just what?" He stepped into the room. "Threatening my employee? In my home?" "I wasn't threatening her. I was simply making sure she understands her place." "Her place?" Massimo's tone could have frozen hell. "Enlighten me, Rosalind. What exactly is Miss Coleman's place?" She was being inappropriate, trying to get your attention. Was she? It wasn't a question. Massimo's gaze flickered to River. "Miss Coleman, were you trying to get my attention?" River's throat was tight. "No, sir. I was cleaning your study, that's all." "See?" Rosalind's voice rose. "She's lying. I saw the way she looked at you." "Basta!" The single Italian word cracked like a whip. Massimo walked slowly toward Rosalind. "Let me make something very clear. Every person who works in this house is under my protection. That includes Miss Coleman. If I ever hear you speak to her or anyone else on my staff like that again, there will be consequences. Do you understand me?" Rosalind's face flushed red. "You're defending the help over your own fiancé." "I'm defending basic human decency, something you seem to have forgotten." "This is ridiculous. She's nobody. She's just—" "Choose your next words very carefully," Massimo interrupted, his tone like ice. "Very carefully." Finally, Rosalind straightened her shoulders. "Fine. I apologize for my outburst. It won't happen again." But her eyes, when they flickered to River, promised retribution. "Rosalind, go upstairs, now." She spun on her designer heels and stalked out, slamming the door. River stood frozen, not sure what to do. Massimo turned to her slowly. "Miss Coleman, are you all right?" The question surprised her. "I'm fine, sir." "No, you're not." His eyes scanned her face. "Sit down. I should get back to—" "Sit down." River sank into the nearest chair. Massimo poured something amber into a crystal glass and pressed it into her hands. "Drink." She obeyed, the whiskey burning down her throat. Slowly, the trembling subsided. Massimo sat across from her. "How long have you worked for me?" 3 days, sir." Something flickered across his face. 3 days and already Rosalind is making your life hell. "It's fine, I can handle it." "You shouldn't have to handle it." "I want you to know something," he said. "In this house, you are safe. Always. If Rosalind, if anyone, speaks to you like that again, you come directly to me, understood?" "Yes, sir." "Massimo." She blinked. "Sir, call me Massimo. I'm not a fan of excessive formality. You don't know me well enough to trust me." His lips curved. "No, but I'm a good judge of character. And you, River Coleman, have the kind of quiet strength that can't be faked." Heat crept up her neck. "Thank you, Massimo." His name felt strange on her tongue. Intimate. He stood, offering her his hand. River took it, and when he pulled her to her feet, she stumbled slightly. His other hand caught her elbow, steadying her. They were close. Too close. "You should take the rest of the day off," Massimo said, his voice rougher. "With pay." "I'm fine. Really. River, take the day." That's an order. As she gathered her things and headed for the door, his voice stopped her. River? She turned back. Welcome to the family, he said quietly. River fled before she could analyze why those words made her heart race. The next morning, River found a large manila envelope waiting for her. Inside was a new contract, triple her original salary, health insurance, a private room on the estate, and a single line, direct report to Massimo Leone, effective immediately. Mrs. Berlusconi found her staring at it. Mr. Leone takes care of those who work for him, the older woman said. He's not like most men in his position. That night, River lay in her apartment, staring at the ceiling. With this new salary, she could pay off Elijah's tuition, cover Mom's medications, and actually save something. All because Massimo Leone had defended her. It didn't make sense. Men like him didn't notice women like her. She needed to remember that. The wedding preparations intensified. Rosalind's demands became increasingly absurd, and through it all, River noticed Massimo growing quieter, darker. She saw him sometimes, late at night in his study. Once, she'd paused in the hallway, watching him. He'd glanced up and caught her. Can't sleep either. Just finishing up. It's past midnight, River. So is your work, she'd pointed out. His lips had curved. Touché. Come here. She'd hesitated, then stepped into the study. Sit. Keep me company for a moment. Tell me about yourself, Massimo had said. So she told him, about her father dying when she was 12, about her mother's illness, about Elijah at Columbia, about working 3 jobs to keep her family together. Massimo had listened. When she'd finished, he'd been quiet. You're stronger than most of the men I employ, he'd said finally. I doubt that. I don't. Most people break under pressure. You bend, but you don't break. That's rare. The conversation had shifted. Massimo telling her about growing up in Brooklyn, the son of Italian immigrants. He didn't talk about how he'd built his empire, and River didn't ask. But in that quiet office, it had felt like they were just 2 people. She'd left when the clock struck 1, and when she'd glanced back, he'd been watching her with an expression that made her chest ache. It became a pattern. Late nights, quiet conversations, a connection building that River knew was dangerous. She learned that Massimo spoke 4 languages, that he loved old Italian films, that he'd built his empire through intelligence and strategy. He learned that River dreamed of becoming a teacher, that she'd never been out of New York, that she loved thunderstorms and could beat anyone at chess. They never touched except by accident. But God, the electricity was undeniable. Everything changed 10 days before the wedding. River was in the garden when she heard raised voices from the terrace. Massimo and Rosalind. I don't understand why you're being so difficult. Rosalind's voice was shrill. You seated my mother next to the Donatelli family. They've been enemies for 30 years. So? Make peace. Isn't that what this wedding is about anyway? Alliances? Silence. Then Massimo's voice, cold. What did you just say? Oh, don't act surprised. You think I don't know this whole marriage is about business? About merging territories? Please. I'm not stupid, Massimo. I never said you were. But you're acting like this is some great love story. We both know what this is, a transaction. River knew she should leave, but she couldn't move. You're right, Massimo said finally. This is a transaction, which is why I expect you to hold up your end with grace and civility. Is that what this is really about? Or is it about her? That little maid you've been spending time with? River's blood turned to ice. Careful, Rosalind. I'm not blind. I've seen the way you look at her. Do you really think I'm going to stand by while my husband-to-be makes a fool of me with the help? Nothing inappropriate has happened between River and me. River! Rosalind spat the name. How touching. Tell me, do you know the names of all your employees? That's enough. The sound of glass shattering. Get out, Massimo said, deadly quiet. Get out, before I say something we'll both regret. You're dismissing me. I'm giving you the courtesy of walking away with your dignity. Take it. This isn't over, Massimo, and when this wedding happens, that girl is gone. I'll make sure of it. River stood frozen. River! She spun around. Massimo stood at the terrace railing. How much did you hear? He asked quietly. Enough. I should go. I can't be the reason. Don't. That single word stopped her. Massimo descended the steps, crossing toward her. When he stopped close enough that she had to tilt her head back, River's breath caught. Don't quit, he said softly. Please. Massimo, I can't be the reason your marriage— My marriage. He laughed bitterly. You heard Rosalind. This isn't a marriage. It's a business arrangement. Then why? Because sometimes duty matters more than what we want. His hand hovered near her face. Because I made promises. Because breaking them would start a war. I understand. Do you? Because I'm not sure I do anymore. Not since you walked into my house and turned my world upside down without even trying. Massimo, I know this is impossible. I know I have no right to ask you to stay, but I'm asking anyway. Stay, please. Talking to you, it's been the only thing keeping me sane. River knew she should say no. Okay, I'll stay. The relief in his eyes was devastating. His hand finally moved, brushing hair back from her face. Thank you. They stood there, close enough to kiss, the air charged with everything they couldn't say. Then Massimo stepped back. I should go. Massimo, he paused. For what it's worth, I think you're a good man. Whatever else you are, you're that too. Something flashed across his face. Then he nodded and walked away. That night, River lay awake, knowing the truth. She was falling for Massimo Leone, and it was going to destroy them both. 3 days before the wedding, disaster struck. River was cleaning when she heard a crash, followed by a scream. She ran. Rosalind stood over shattered glass and destroyed flowers. You did this on purpose. River's heart sank. The elaborate wedding flowers. Miss Fairfax, I didn't— Liar! I saw you in here this morning. I was just cleaning. You're trying to ruin my wedding. You want to steal Massimo. Mrs. Berlusconi hurried toward them. What's going on? She destroyed my wedding flowers. I want her fired. Now. I didn't touch the flowers, River said steadily. She's lying. Rosalind turned to Mrs. Berlusconi. Fire her, or I'll call Massimo. There's no misunderstanding. She's trying to sabotage my wedding because she wants my fiancé. I didn't seduce anyone, River said quietly. Please, I've seen the way you look at each other. You're making a fool of me. This isn't your home yet, a cold voice said. Everyone turned. Massimo stood in the hallway, thunderous. Massimo! Rosalind ran to him, tears streaming. Thank God. Look what she did to my flowers. I saw the security footage, Massimo interrupted. Silence. Rosalind paled. What? The security cameras. They show you knocking over the flowers yourself, right after River left. Rosalind's mouth opened. That's not— The angle is perfectly clear. You destroyed your own flowers, then blamed River. Why? Rosalind's tears dried, her expression turning ugly. Because I'm tired of pretending. I'm tired of watching you moon over the help. I'm your fiancé, Massimo, not some nobody from the Bronx. The slur hit River like a blow. Massimo's expression went murderous. Get out, he said softly. Rosalind blinked. What? Get out of my house. The engagement is over. The hallway erupted, and Rosalind looked slapped. You can't be serious. I've never been more serious. I will not marry someone who treats people like garbage. My father will destroy you. He'll start a war. Let him try. Massimo stepped closer. I've survived worse than Francis Fairfax, and I will not spend my life tied to someone I can't even respect. Rosalind's face crumbled. Then her eyes landed on River, pure hatred there. This is all your fault. You ruined everything. No, Massimo said firmly. You ruined this yourself. River was just doing her job. You're really throwing everything away for her? I'm ending this because you're cruel. Whatever I decide after that is my business. Rosalind stared, then stormed to her room, slamming the door. Massimo turned to the staff. Show's over. Back to work. They scattered, leaving just Massimo, River, and Mrs. Berlusconi. Mrs. Berlusconi looked at Massimo with pride. It's about time. She squeezed River's shoulder and left, leaving River alone with Massimo. Are you all right? He asked. River nodded. I'm sorry you had to go through that. It's not your fault, isn't it? I brought her into this house. I ignored the warning signs. You were trying to do the right thing. And in doing so, I allowed someone to treat you terribly. He ran a hand through his hair. Some leader I am. River moved closer. You're a better man than you think, Massimo Leone. He looked at her. You have an unsettling habit of making me want to be better. Is that so bad? It's terrifying, because when I'm with you, I forget all the reasons this is impossible. Massimo, I called off the wedding because Rosalind was cruel, but that's not the whole truth. His voice dropped. The truth is, I couldn't marry her knowing I'd be thinking of you every day for the rest of my life. The words hung heavy. That's not fair to you, River whispered. I'm nobody. Stop. He cupped her face. Don't ever call yourself nobody. You're the most real thing in my life. This can't work. I know. His thumb brushed her cheekbone. But for once I don't care about what's smart or safe. I only care about this. And then he kissed her. Soft at first, questioning. But River melted into him, her hands fisting in his shirt. Massimo made a sound and pulled her closer, deepening the kiss. His hands slid into her hair, cradling her head like she was precious. When they broke apart, breathing hard, River's world had tilted. I shouldn't have done that, Massimo said, but he didn't let go. Probably not, River agreed, but she didn't pull away. They stood there holding each other, knowing everything had changed. The fallout was immediate. Francis Fairfax called within hours, his rage echoing through the mansion. River heard snatches, threats, demands, warnings. Massimo's response was steady, unyielding. But River knew it wasn't simple. Over the next days, pressure intensified. Associates called meetings, partners expressed concerns, rumors swirled about Massimo's judgment. All because he'd defended his housekeeper. River tried to stay out of the way, but Massimo sought her out constantly. Tell me about your dreams, he said one night. I want to go back to school, become a teacher, work with kids like I was, smart, but overlooked. You'd be incredible. Maybe someday when Elijah graduates. Or maybe sooner. River frowned. What do you mean? I've been thinking about what I want my legacy to be. Massimo, let me finish. I've spent my life building power. And for what? So I can die alone, surrounded by people who fear me but don't care if I live or die. That's not true. Respect isn't love, River. His voice was raw. Meeting you made me realize I've been living half a life. You make me want to be better, to do better, to actually live. I'm not some magical cure. You're brave and smart and kind and real. You're everything missing from my world. River's eyes stung. This is crazy. We barely know each other. I know everything that matters. He took her hand. I know you work 3 jobs for your family. I know you dream about teaching. I know you're terrified of spiders. I know you cry during sad movies. I know you see the good in people. How do you know all that? Because I pay attention. Because when I'm with you, I'm fully present. Because you matter to me in a way I didn't think was possible. Tears slipped down her cheeks. This won't work. Your world and mine. So, we'll bridge the gap. Massimo stood, crouching before her. I know I'm asking for something impossible, but I'm asking anyway. Stay. Not as my employee, as whatever you want to be. Just stay. I'm scared, she whispered. Me too. I've faced gun battles without blinking. But the thought of losing you, that scares me more than anything. What if your people turn against you? Then we'll deal with it. Together. Massimo, I'm not asking you to marry me tomorrow. I'm just asking for a chance. To see where this goes, can you give me that? River cupped his face and kissed him. Massimo responded immediately, pulling her up. This kiss was hungrier, more desperate. His hands roamed her back, her waist. River gasped, and he backed her against the desk. Papers scattered. Say yes, Massimo breathed. Please, River. Yes, she whispered. Yes to a chance. Yes to you. The relief was staggering. He kissed her again, softer, like a promise. Move in with me, he said. Not as my employee. As my partner, my equal. River thought about her tiny apartment, about 3 jobs, about deferred dreams. Then she looked at Massimo and made her choice. Yes, she whispered. Yes to everything. The joy in his expression was pure. He kissed her again, slower, like they had all the time in the world. And maybe they did. The next morning, River woke to a text from an unknown number. Enjoy it while it lasts. He'll get bored soon enough. And when he does, I'll make sure you regret everything. Rosalind. River's hands shook as she deleted it. A knock. Mrs. Berlusconi, pale. What's wrong? There's been an incident. Men from the Fairfax organization attacked one of our shipments. 3 men are in the hospital. River's stomach dropped. Is Massimo... He's fine. In his office. But River, this is what his world looks like. Violence. Danger. Are you sure you know what you're getting into? River wasn't sure of anything. except that Massimo in danger made her chest ache. I need to see him. She found Massimo surrounded by grim-faced men. He looked up when she entered and something eased. Everyone out, he said quietly. When the door closed, Massimo pulled her into his arms. Are you okay? River asked. I am now. He kissed her head. I'm sorry. What happened? Francis Fairfax making a point. People got hurt because of me. No. Massimo gripped her shoulders. People got hurt because Francis Fairfax is vindictive. This is not your fault. What are you going to do? Meet with Francis. Make it clear attacking my people is war. Give him a chance to back down. And if he doesn't? Massimo's expression hardened. Then we go to war. But I'll do everything to avoid that. I don't want anyone else hurt. River, in my world there are always conflicts. Always someone trying to take what's mine. That was true before you, and it'll be true after. The difference is, now I have something worth fighting for beyond power. His phone buzzed. I have to go. The meeting's in an hour. Be careful. Always. He kissed her softly. Wait for me. I'm not going anywhere. Relief flashed in his eyes. Then he was gone. Hours crawled by. When Massimo finally returned, River heard the commotion. He looked exhausted but unharmed. When he saw River, his expression softened. He pulled her into a quiet alcove. How did it go? Better than expected. Francis agreed to a ceasefire. Relief flooded her. That's good. There's a condition. He wants to meet you. Me, why? Because he thinks you're the reason I called off the engagement. He wants to see what kind of woman could make me throw away a strategic alliance. I'll do it, River said. River, no. If it helps avoid war, I'll do it. When? Tomorrow night. Dinner. Just the three of us. Okay. Massimo pulled her close, forehead to hers. You're the bravest person I know. Or the stupidest. His laugh was quiet. Maybe both. They stood there, holding each other. Tomorrow could change everything. River had never been more nervous. The Fairfax estate was massive, making the Leone property look modest. Massimo squeezed her hand. You don't have to do this. We can turn around. I want to do this. For you, for us. Whatever happens, remember, you have nothing to prove. Francis Fairfax was waiting, silver-haired, cold blue eyes, decades of wielded power. He looked River up and down. So you're the girl who broke my daughter's heart? River lifted her chin. With respect, sir, your daughter's heart was never in that engagement. She said so herself. Francis's eyebrows rose. Then he smiled. Fair point. Come, let's eat. Dinner was surreal. Francis asked questions that felt like interrogations. Where did you grow up? The Bronx. Education? High school. 2 years of community college before I had to work. Family. My mother and younger brother. Ambitions? I want to become a teacher someday. Francis leaned back, studying her. A teacher? Most women in your position would be angling for jewelry. I'm not most women, and I work for Massimo. That's all. Is it? Because from where I'm sitting, Massimo threw away a very advantageous marriage over you. That was Massimo's choice, not mine. I never asked him to call off the engagement, but you didn't discourage him. Your daughter was cruel to me and everyone else. He made a choice based on her character. Francis was quiet. Then he laughed. I like you, Miss Coleman. You've got spine. River blinked. My daughter is many things, but gracious isn't one of them. I'd hoped marriage might temper her, but perhaps that was naive. Sir, Massimo started. Let me finish. I was angry when you called it off. But having met Miss Coleman, I understand. You're genuine. That's rare in our world. I don't want anything from Massimo except... River stopped. Except his happiness, his respect, a chance at something real? River nodded. Francis turned to Massimo. You chose well, so here's my offer. I call off the dogs, no more retaliation. In exchange, we maintain our business relationship, no marriage necessary. What's the catch? No catch, just one request. Francis looked at River. Take care of him. Massimo's a good man. He deserves someone who sees him clearly and chooses him anyway. Tears pricked River's eyes. I will. Good. Then we have an agreement. Massimo stood, shaking Francis's hand. Thank you. Don't thank me. Thank Miss Coleman. The drive back was quiet. Massimo held River's hand. When they arrived home, River could breathe. That went better than I expected, she said. Francis likes you. Is that good? Very good. Massimo pulled her into his study. You were incredible tonight. I was terrified. Bravery isn't the absence of fear. He cupped her face. You're extraordinary. Massimo, I'm in love with you. River's breath caught. You, what? I love you, River Coleman. I've probably loved you since you told me I wasn't a monster, when you saw a man instead of a crime lord. His voice was rough. I know it's too soon, but I'm tired of hiding. I love you, and I think you might love me too. Tears spilled. I do. God help me, I do love you. Relief. He kissed her then, deep and desperate and full of promise. When they broke apart, Massimo rested his forehead against hers. Move in with me, not as my employee, as my partner, my equal. Massimo, I know it's fast, but I don't want to waste another moment. I want to wake up with you, fall asleep with you, build something real. What do you say? River thought about her tiny apartment, about 3 jobs, about deferred dreams. Then she looked at this powerful, surprisingly gentle man. Yes, she whispered, yes to everything. Joy. He kissed her again, slower. And maybe finally they had all the time in the world. Over the next months, River's life transformed. She moved into Massimo's private wing. He insisted she redecorate. Soon her touches appeared everywhere. Books, plants, family photographs. Massimo set up a college fund for Elijah, arranged the best doctors for her mother, offered River a position as his consultant, advisor, partner. She helped him navigate social situations, advised on community programs, became indispensable. You're legitimizing me, he told her one night. I'm just helping you be who you already are. He enrolled her in online classes at Columbia, celebrated when she aced exams. When she declared her education major, he'd grinned. Professor Coleman, it suits you. Their relationship was its own education, learning each other, navigating his world's complexities, finding balance. There were hard moments. Dinners where River felt out of place. Nights when Massimo came home exhausted from threats she couldn't help with. Moments when the reality of who he was crashed over her. But there were beautiful moments too. Morning coffee, late-night conversations, the way he looked at her, the way she'd learned to see past the crime lord to the man. Flawed, trying, surprisingly gentle. I never thought I could have this, Massimo told her one night. Never thought I deserved it. You deserve everything good, River whispered. 6 months after the cancelled wedding, Massimo proposed, in the garden where they'd first really talked, with a beautiful but not ostentatious ring and words from his heart. You saved me, River, not from my enemies but from a future where I never knew what it meant to be truly seen, truly loved. Marry me. Let me spend my life proving I'm worthy of you. River said yes before he'd finished. 2 years later, River stood in the doorway of the Leone Estate's new community center, watching children stream through for after-school programs. The center had been Massimo's idea, giving back to neighborhoods like where River grew up. Professor Coleman? River turned to see Maya, a bright-eyed student. Yes, Maya? I finished the book you recommended. It was amazing. River smiled. I'm so glad. Come find me tomorrow and we'll talk about it. Maya ran off and River felt arms wrap around her waist. You're good at this, Massimo murmured. Changing lives. We're good at it, River corrected, turning. This was your vision, but you made it reality. He kissed her softly. Ready to go home? Home. The word still made her chest ache with happiness. They walked to the car, hands linked, wedding rings catching the sun. River thought about the scared girl who'd stood outside these gates 2 years ago. How impossible this life would have seemed, married to Massimo Leone, teaching kids, using their resources to make actual change. What are you thinking about? Massimo asked. How far we've come. How different everything is. Better. River looked at her husband, still dangerous, still powerful, but softer now. Happier, more whole. So much better, she said. Though I never could have imagined this. Neither could I. His hand found hers. But I'm grateful for every moment. Even the messy parts. Especially the messy parts. They made us who we are. River leaned her head on his shoulder. Somewhere in the Bronx, a girl like she'd been was probably struggling, wondering if life would get better. River hoped she'd find her own version of better. Hoped she'd have the courage to take chances, to believe in impossible things, to fight for the life she deserved. Because sometimes fairy tales were real. They just looked different than expected. I love you, River said quietly. I love you too. Massimo replied. Always. And as they drove home, to their life, their future, their hard-won happiness, River knew with certainty that she'd made the right choice, every single time. This story has come to an end. If it touched your heart in any way, leave your like and share it with someone who also loves emotional stories. New stories arrive soon. Until next time.